Coverage from our CBS Miami affiliate WFOR as we continue watching this situation at Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida. What the officials have described as a mass casualty incident, a shooting at that school as students continue to file out and some, in some cases, remain huddled inside classrooms and inside closets.
With law enforcement moving around, the inside story is that they still don't know where this shooter is. They still don't have anyone in custody, according to our federal law enforcement sources. And so right now they're trying to get this shooter, whoever it is, neutralized. And that's what they do in situations like this. This is one of those active shooter situations that local law enforcement across the country trains at heavily and constantly because we've been seeing them so often. And so these pictures that we're seeing, as shocking as they are to see these kids walking out of this school with their hands on their heads or their hands on someone's shoulders, law enforcement sadly has become accustomed to.
It's really indescribable. It's something that you think is never going to happen to your family. I mean, you see the families on TV and you think to yourself, those poor families, how can they even go on with their lives after this? It's so hard. I was one of those people. I watched Columbine on TV. I watched countless others. I watched Sandy Hook. I cried with the Sandy Hook parents. I cried with President Obama when the law was not passed. And I just think that we are living like in a deep state of denial. We do not think it's going to touch our families. We do not realize that this is a real threat to every child in school, every person in a public place, and that it's time for Americans to say, we've had enough. Enough is enough.
Hard to tell you, I find it hard to take. When people run in circles, it's a very, very mad world. Mad world. Children waiting for the day they feel.
Kara was 14 years old, about to turn 15. We were getting ready to celebrate her birthday, and this terrible thing happened, and it broke our hearts, and we just feel she got cheated out of her life.
The way I was really able to come to terms with the fact that I might lose my life was the fact that I really didn't. I wasn't going to accept the fact that I may die in this situation. We thought it was a drill for about 75% of it. For the first 40 minutes, I thought it was a drill until we started seeing the headlines and hearing the helicopters. And by that time, we kind of figured either the shooter had killed himself or he was killed by the police, neither of which was true. In fact, they hadn't even found him yet, which is even more disconcerting. But it was really thinking that it was a drill. I thought that regardless of what this was, I should still cover it as a journalist so I can do a story on it. And that's why I was really able to keep some of my composure, as sickening as that was. The fact that we have to prepare for these active shootings and these mass murders with drills at our school, just like an air raid drill during World War II, shows the state that America has come to.
Samantha, first I want to know how you're feeling. I know you did get some bullet wounds, and I know your best friend was shot right next to you.
Yeah.
Do you know how she's doing?
Yeah.
Have you been able to hear what happened to her?
Yeah, unfortunately, she didn't make it.
Samantha, we're so
sorry about that, Samantha. So sorry.
We'll do it all, everything on our
Joining me now are 5 students from Parkland, Florida, who attend Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School. They are David Hogg, Alex Wind, and Emma Gonzalez, plus Cameron Caskey and Jacqueline Corin. Thanks so much to all of you for joining me. And Cameron, I'll start with you. You say the adults have let you down.
Well, there's the natural crescendo, there's the natural it's been enough. You know, these have been happening over and over again, and people are starting to realize the "this is inevitable" rhetoric is a facade.
Chuck Todd is NBC's political director and moderator of Meet the Press. Chuck, good morning, good to see you. So I know your entire show, the focus of the show today is will things change after Parkland? We've seen this routine before. Both sides dig in on their arguments for guns and against guns. Politicians say the right things about thoughts and prayers in the moment, but nothing really changes on the federal level. Forgive my skepticism, but why would anything change now?
Look, I don't, legislatively, probably nothing will change as long as you have the sort of the orientation that you have right now with Republicans in charge of the House and Senate and a president who very much doesn't appear to have any interest in new gun laws. But the student activism here is something that's different. And look, and I know that I've had people say to me, if 20 first graders getting mowed down doesn't change things, why will anything change? But the student activism here does feel different. We've not had this before after one of these shootings. These students aren't just mourning, they're angry. They grew up in a generation of knowing how to build communities quickly. Their anger and their protestations here, I think, have gone viral fast. I think this is potentially a formidable new group of political activists here that could at least change the conversation. And that's what you have to do first, Willie, before you're going to get legislation.
In Las Vegas, people went home after Las Vegas happened. So at some point, they're not, this isn't their community, this isn't where they have to stay. They can go home and they have to deal with their trauma, but they don't have an organizing force holding them together because it was one night. It happened to be a concert. You know, people from all around the world would have come to see it. But Douglas, this is where we have to stay. This is where we have to live. This is our community, and we are forever going to be known as the place where the shooting happened. Just like Las Vegas, just like Orlando, just like Newtown, just like Columbine. So, you know, we got fed up, and people listened to us because we were actually making coherent statements, which is something unknown amongst children because people don't listen to us normally.
No one should feel unsafe in a school where you're supposed to learn about life. If there's another mass shooting in this country, I will fly to Washington, D.C., and I will not move until change happens.
I am here with all of my friends, and we are stronger together as one voice, fighting for what we think is right, and we will be asking for change because that's the most important thing.
First of all, I want to thank all of you for coming to Tallahassee to share your perspective and your point of view on these important issues.
Because of guns, I can't walk these streets again. I can't go to an airport because I'm scared of hearing shots. I can't walk my hallways because I'm always reminded of an AR-15 military rifle assault weapon.
We want gun reform. We want common sense gun laws. We want stronger mental health checks and background checks to work in conjunction. We want a better age limit. We want privatized selling to be completely reformed so you can't just walk into a building with $130 and walk out with an AR-15.
Would an extensive background check have prevented this? Do you believe that?
I think it may have. You make a very good point there. That's an issue that we're carefully looking at.
I feel listened to? No. I feel like the president, he's going to look into it, but him looking into it is just him passing or flipping a page because he's still waiting for his paycheck from the NRA.
There are some nights I hold on to every note I ever wrote, waiting for catastrophes, imagining they'd scare me into changing whatever it is I am changing into. And you have every right to be scared. 'Cause there are some nights I hold you close, pushing you to hold me, oh, begging you to lock me up, never let me see the world. Some nights I live in horror of the people on the radio, tea parties and Twitter. I've never been so bitter. And why you wanna stay? Oh my God, have you listened to me lately? Lately, I've been going crazy, so crazy. And you, why you wanna stay? Oh my God, have you listened to me lately? Lately, I've been going crazy. There are some nights I wait for someone to save us, but I never look inward. Try not to look upward. And some nights I pray a sun is gonna come to me, but usually I'm just trying to get some sleep. Some nights.
We are back on a Saturday morning with more on the power of a movement. In just a few hours, hundreds of thousands of people will take to the streets, the majority of them kids.
Many of them aren't even old enough to vote, Chanel. Some of them are not even old enough to drive. But none of that is stopping them from making their voices heard. And as this country's history has shown before, those voices can be very powerful.
Every single day that I wake up, I remember the first couple days after February 14th, nothing felt real, but I remember thinking, how do I get out of bed? What's the point of me getting out of bed just to do nothing? If my friends can't be here, why should I be here? And that was kind of my first thing that ever really hit me. Like, before I even felt grief, that was the first thing, just trying to get out of bed. It was so hard. And the thing that really made me get out of bed was going out and becoming active. And that was the thing that made me get out of bed, because it made me feel like I had a purpose. It made me feel like if this happened to me, I need to use my pain, I need to use my stories with my friends, because I know if I was in their position, if I died on February 14th, they'd be doing the exact same thing for me.
Change. That's a funny word. Because change usually means that you go from one thing to another. But I feel like maybe what we need isn't change, maybe just an improvement. Because what we have now is a nation divided because of beliefs, ideologies, race, creed, color, gender, religion. And, you know, what I would like to see happen because of Never Again, the March for Our Lives, and everything that we're doing is just not change, but let's just pick ourselves up and help the people who can't pick themselves up. Just give everyone a little push, a little pat on the back.
Six minutes and about 20 seconds. In a little over 6 minutes, 17 of our friends were taken from us, 15 were injured, and everyone, absolutely everyone, in the Douglas community was forever altered. For those who still can't comprehend because they refuse to, I'll tell you where it went. Right into the ground, 6 feet deep. 6 minutes and 20 seconds with an AR-15, and my friend Carmen would never complain to me about piano practice. Aaron Feist would never call Kira Miss Sunshine. Alex Schachter would never walk into school with his brother Ryan. Scott Beagle would never joke around with Cameron at camp. Helen Ramsey would never hang out after school with Max. Gina Montalto would never wave to her friend Liam at lunch. Joaquin Oliver would never play basketball with Sam or Dylan. Elena Petty would never, Kara Lugren would never, Chris Hickson would never, Luke Hoyer would never, Marquine Duque Aguiano would never, Peter Wang would never, Alyssa Al-Hadaf would never, Jamie Guttenberg would never, Meadow Pollock would never. Since the time that I came out here, it has been 6 minutes and 20 seconds. The shooter has ceased shooting and will soon abandon his rifle, blend in with the students as they escape, and walk free for an hour before arrest. Fight for your lives before it's someone else's job.